couple seconds. Has this actually started? Well, that's not good. Huh? What is this? What is going on? It seems like it's working now. Working now. Working now. This. This actually started. I mean, I'm still alive, right? That's not good. Right? Okay, sorry for all the confusion. Okay, sorry for all the confusion. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, like the title says, I'm going back to doing my drawing lessons. I left it for a while because I don't really know why. Because I thought I was no good. I thought I didn't need it. Other depression related stuff. Maybe I'm not as depressed as I think I am. I don't know. Came up with a new idea for something, and I'd like to make it a comic, but I can't. I'm not a good artist. So I need to work on it. I'd love to get my best friend, to collaborate with me, but he's got his own life, his own career, his own responsibilities, so I'm not gonna. I gotta take things into my own hands. Anyways, let's go.
Alright, in this lecture, we're going to go over contouring lines even further. So, like I said, observation is one of the most important parts when it comes to drawing. You need to learn to observe things. Now, we're going to draw my boot from life, but the thing is that most people make a mistake on is they usually look at their drawing too much and they don't look at the object enough. You should be spending more time looking at the object than you do looking at your drawing. You need to be studying.
It's dark in here now.
Tiny little thing. So, for example, let me grab my boot. You'll see right here, we have this corner, and then we have this angle, right? Now, if I were drawing it, if I spent all my time looking at my drawing and 10% of the time looking at this angle, I'd probably get the incorrect angle. But by looking at this angle over and over again, and then looking at my drawing for a little while, and then looking back at this angle and studying it, and trying to figure out what angle that is, I'll be able to draw that a lot better. Same with everything else on this boot. So you want to spend most of your time looking at the object and hardly any time looking at your artwork. Trust me, this sounds counterintuitive, but believe me, this will make your art look way better the more you start observing it from real life. So let's go ahead and get started.
I had a boot like this, but I left it back in New Brunswick.
I'm going to spend about 50% of my time looking at my drawing and about 50% of the time looking at my boot. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing. Now, this is not going to be an endless line contouring drawing. I just want to actually draw the lines and the shapes that I see in my boot there. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at my boot, and then I'm going to draw the line that I see. So that's the outer edge of my boot, the sole of my boot at least. Here's the bottom part of my boot. There's that sole. It comes over like so. for example, I want to make sure that I get this shape correct, so I'm spending a lot of time looking at my boot, but then as I draw this line, I want to make sure that I'm looking at my drawing. That way I create the correct thickness of the sole of my boot. Otherwise, it's going to look off.
This shoe's ugly.
Look away, and that's why it's off. So I'm going to take my eraser, and I'm going to go ahead and erase that. And then I'm going to go ahead and sort of redraw that in. Like so. And then I can finish the sole of my boot. And I can work on the next shape that I see, which is this back part of the boot, which kind of curves up like so. And then I can start on this tip of the boot, or the toe of the boot. And then I also kind of see this shape right here. And I also see a shape like so. And that kind of curves around like that. And this back area is a little bit off, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Now I'm pressing a little bit hard with my pencils, so you want to make sure that if you want to erase, you're not pressing too hard. You can always go back and press harder. So I'm going to redraw this so it's not so curved. And then we'll have a little bit more area for the foot to fit into the boot. And then I'm also seeing sort of this shape right here for the bill of my boot. And that's basically the basic shape that I'm seeing for my boot. Now we can go a little bit further and add some more detail. So if I wanted to, I can add this back area and add more of a curve there, and then I can also add in this back piece. I can add more of this loop that I have on the back of my boot that you use for pulling your boots on. Let's see, we can add in each individual little hole. Now the point of this is not to draw a perfect drawing, it's to try to get the lines as perfect as possible when it comes to resembling the lines on your actual object. So then we can even add in those shoelaces. So there's one shoelace coming over like so, and there's another one coming over like so, and another one coming over like so. And while I'm drawing this, I'm really paying attention to everything about this. I'm paying attention to which shoelace goes over which shoelace. So like over here, for example, this shoelace is going to be underneath this shoelace, so I'm going to leave that area
This doesn't
out.
have shoelaces.
Add that one in. And I can add that one in. And I'm
I had
also
a
paying attention
boot
to
that
how
was
the
perfectly
shoelaces are
fine,
curved.
but
So
it
as we get up
wasn't
here to the top,
in good
we're going to get
condition.
a little bit more of a curve, and I missed the
I
shoelace.
left
hole.
it behind.
But we're going to get a little bit more of a curve, so it's going to curve more up like so. Same with this other side.
Whatever.
So we're gonna get
Maybe
more curve
it's for the
on our
best.
shoelace, just like so. And then we can also go ahead and add in those stitches that we see. I'm making sure that I have the same exact curve that my shoe has. And then I can even go a little bit further and add some of the wrinkling that I see on this top area of the boot. So I'm kind of seeing a wrinkle like so. Now, even though in real life these lines don't appear, it's good for you to draw them anyways. That way you start to get familiar with observing objects. That brings us to the end of this lecture. So in this lecture,
What?
we learned how to draw contouring lines.
That was
We
6
also learned that
minutes?
we need to
Oh. Okay, I guess I gotta give you a view of what I'm doing then. How? How am I How do I show this off? Okay. I guess I should find some music to play. a scene where the camera's the bigger thing. Whatever. It's not like anybody's watching. Yes, I know these shoes are kind of ugly, but they're really comfy. I don't have cool looks. Well, I do, but I hardly ever wear them. What was I doing? Right. That's not right. It's way too big. Is it? See, this is why I don't try things, because I am never happy with anything that I do. Except for that BoJack script I wrote. And they fucking canceled the show. all I'm doing is drawing this fucking shoe. And I'm not pleased with myself to the point where it's like, it's depressing. Is there other people like me out there, just perfectionists to such a degree that they don't do anything because of it? Because if it can't be perfect, then why bother? Maybe I need medication. I don't know. This fucking thing's falling apart anyways. I really like the eye lesson a lot better. Such a hard time drawing lines in that direction. Why am I bothering with this? I'm not good at it. I'm never gonna become good enough at this that I can use it. I have to rely on someone else for this. I have to. see. I'm gonna make another scene real quick where it's the full. Should I do the other lesson here? Hold on, I'm just gonna see what's going on in Call of Duty land real quick. Let's just put this boot away for now.
Spend most of our time observing the object that we're trying to draw. Now, eventually you're going to be drawing out of your head, but until you understand how real life works and how real objects and real light works, you're not going to be able to draw out of your head. So you need to make sure that you're studying from life objects, and you need to learn how to observe those in great detail. So spend most of your time observing those objects and spend less time actually looking at your drawing. Thanks for watching this lecture, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Alright, in this lecture, we're going to go ahead and go over something called cross-contour lines. Now, what are cross-contour lines?
I don't know.
Well, contour lines are the lines that make out the outside shape of, or the outside line of your shape. And cross-contour lines are lines that can be used to create the inside values of your shape. Now, let me show you the difference between just a normal contour line and a cross-contour line. So here we have a sphere, and we have a second sphere too. The first one, we're just going to use contour lines, straight ones, and they're not going to be cross-contour lines. So this means that, let's say that we have our shadow kind of more along this edge, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding in that shading. And I'm doing it just by adding contour lines. So lines can definitely be used to add value and shading and highlight to your artwork. But as you can see, these are just completely straight. And then I can add a second layer if I wanted to that's a little bit darker. Like so. And then I could add a darker edge along here. and then that would kind of create my bounce light along this bottom edge. And I
I
can
always
also
make all my
kind of bring
lines
in a
too
little
thick.
bit more of a lighter edge there to
Dark,
soften that
thick.
edge. And so those are straight contour lines. Now these work pretty well, and depending on the style of artwork you're trying to create, these might work. Like let's say you're trying to recreate a Victorian styled or a turn of the century styled piece of artwork. This could definitely work because printing presses would very often print in this style with straight lines that would make up an image. But in most cases, you're probably not going to be doing that. So you want to go with cross contour lines. So what are cross contour lines? Well, cross contour lines are just lines that go along the surface of your actual object. So because this is a sphere, we wouldn't have straight lines going across. Otherwise, that would make that more of a flat surface, or at least it would look more flat. So what we want to do is we want to add in our contouring lines, but we want them to go along with the form. So for example, we can start with our darker shadow. That will make up the most of the shadow of our sphere. So we're just going to add in those lines, and they're going to have that same curve that will curve along with the sphere itself. And we can just go ahead and keep layering those in. But as you can see, you're probably getting the idea that cross-contouring lines are just lines that follow the shape of whatever it is that you're creating highlights and values on. And then we can go ahead and add in that darker area right here in the middle. So the idea is just to stay with that form of your shape. Alright, now if you're still not understanding what cross-contour lines are, let's have a look at a square or a cube. So if we were to do this with just straight contouring lines, let's see how that would look. We're going to make this side our shadow side, and we're going to make this top part our highlight, and this side will be our mid-tone color. So first we're going to start off by adding that shadow in like so. And as you can see, I'm just using straight lines. Then we're going to go ahead and add in some lighter lines on this side.
Hold on, buddy. That's not a square. That's a cube. That's a poor ass cube. Ooh. I guess you don't want to view me. You want to see what I'm doing. Again, right? Should I get two cameras, maybe? You know, I don't know if my laptop can take another USB device, honestly. Okay.
And I want to add a little tiny bit of shadow on this top part too, even though it's our highlight. So what we'll do is we're going to re-layer this a second time with a little bit darker lines. And then we're going to lightly add some lines along this top like so. So now this is creating the illusion that we have some form, some highlight, and some shadow, but it would look a lot more realistic if our contouring lines were actually going along the shape of our image, going along that surface. So I'm going to switch over to a sharpened pencil. So how would we do that? Well, let's start off with the shadow edge. So rather than going straight like this, we can create more of a surface illusion by going along with this line right here, so that it's in correct perspective. So I'm just going to start adding those lines in like so.
Okay. Can't even fucking do a straight line.
Great. Next, we want to go ahead and add in the highlight on this, or the shadow on this area. Now, in this drawing, this is actually correct. This is actually crossing contour lines. So we can go ahead and just copy what we did there. You almost want to pretend like as if there's wooden slabs going across these surfaces. In what direction would those lines be going? Then let's go ahead and add it to the top. So for the top, we could either go straight across, but just to get the idea more across, we're going to go ahead and add them in this diagonal angle, like so. Perfect. So these are examples of cross-contouring lines. They make your artwork look a lot better. Now let's go ahead and look at some real examples of where we've used cross-contouring lines in our eye drawing. So I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm just going to grab our previous eye drawing that we did. And let's have a look at what we've done here. So a really good example of where this cross-contouring line is happening is right here along this edge of the brow. So we have it kind of almost curving, and that's curving into the shape of our brow, which is underneath the skin. It's part of the skull. We're not going to get too much into that right now, but it's going along the form and the shape. Same with over here, we have more of a curve going downwards, and we also see that cross-contouring line on the eyelid where these lines, these shadow lines, are following the form and the shape of our eyelid.
It's so much better
here, it's going in the same direction as our eyelid, and we even see that with our eyebrows. Now, even though our hairs are making it up, it's still kind of the same idea. So the hair is following the shape and the form of our eyebrow. Now let's go ahead and add some cross-contouring lines to our boot drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and set this drawing aside, and then I'm going to grab my boot drawing that we did from before. So we just have a basic, simple shape drawing, or line drawing. What we want to do now is we want to add some highlights and values in there. Now don't worry if you don't understand how to add shadows and highlights and values. All I want you to do is look at your object, or your boot if you're drawing a boot too, and I want you to study where those dark shadows are and where those lighter areas are, and I want you to try to recreate that by using cross-contouring lines. So for example, I'm going to have more of a dark shadow edge along this bottom area, like so, and when I add those in, I want to follow the shape of this boot. So rather than just doing straight lines like so, I want to actually follow the shape of this boot when I add in those shadows. Then there's probably going to be a little bit more shadow along this edge, so I'm going to go ahead and add it in like so. And this top surface is going to be left pretty bright because it's going to be being hit by the light. But you'll see how my cross-contouring shadows are following the form. That's the important part. We would probably be getting a shadow underneath this edge right here, just a little small one, so I can go ahead and add some cross-contouring there. And then inside here, this is going to be a very interesting part, and this will really demonstrate how cross-contouring works. So in here, we're going to have a lot more shadow, but we don't just want to do straight lines across or fill it in with black, because it's more on these edges, there's going to be a lot darker shadows, and then this inner area is going to be a lot lighter. So we're going to add that in like so, and we want to follow the form, so it's going to curve around like so. Over here, we'll add a little bit darker, and then we can lighten this middle area. But you'll see I'm adding that curve in there, because what's happening in there is it's kind of making a tornado, not a tornado, but like a funnel that's going down, or a cylinder. It's more of a cylinder shape, and so you want to really create that with your contouring lines. We can also add some contouring lines on the sole of our boot, so just like so, and we'll add something right here. Now this area right here is straighter than right there because this part of the boot is a flat, straight surface, and so that's why it looks like that. So it's okay to use straight lines sometimes. You just want to make sure that it's actually going along with the form of your boot. Alright, that brings us to the end of this lecture. So in this lecture, you learned all about cross-contouring lines. You learned that they're a lot better than just doing straight contouring lines, and they make your images look a lot more realistic. So just remember, cross-contouring lines are lines that are used to create the form of your object.
You say so.
They go along the same shape as your object, and that's what creates that form. Now, your assignment for this section of the course is to go ahead and find an object, or take the object that you've already been drawing, and go ahead and draw your line drawing, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to add in your cross-contouring to your image. And I want you to try to spend as much time on this as possible. Now, if you really want to go the extra mile and really get your bang for your buck out of this course, I really recommend that you do this with a lot of objects, at least 5 different objects, and 20 would be better. The more you study, the better you're going to be. I know it seems like everybody says that, but it's because it's true. Practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lecture.
Uh-huh. Every time I try and contour this shit, it looks worse. I feel like I've ruined this boot now. Das Boot. Ugh. If I do ever become good at drawing, it's probably not going to be in any hyper realistic style. You can barely tell what it is anymore. Eh. Alright, well, I tried after the first time in a while, so you know what? I just gotta be happy with what's been done. going on now? That's all for today. Nobody's watching, so we don't have to say thanks for watching. But I'll say it anyways. Thanks for watching. If someone ends up viewing this at the 100,000 years from now, some fucking historical project. Okay. I wonder what it's like there in the future. Okay, I'm done. Goodbye.